Hello, everyone. This is Randy Kirk with Small Business Daily, and this is the show where we're trying to help small business owners like you become more successful. The goal of the show has always been to get more vacations for small business owners, and that should include the fact that you're making more money. You're taking more money home to the family. So if that's something that interests you, if you want to make more money, if you want to have more vacations, if you want to just feel better about the company that you own or the company that you are associated with, then hit the like button up there. Just that will help out the show. That'll help out the algorithm basically at YouTube. And then if you'd like to get more like this, because today we're going to be talking about Google My Business with our guest, Dan Nera. But maybe that's something you're very interested in, or maybe you're more interested in some shows I did a couple of weeks ago on Elon Musk and what makes him the number one most important entrepreneur of our age, maybe of any age. And or maybe you want to look back further. You could find some videos that we did on how to sell. There were 6 videos at the very beginning a few weeks ago on how to sell. Maybe that would be extremely interesting to you. If all of that sounds like content that might affect your business and make you more successful in life, then hit the subscribe button. That way it's easy for you to find all these videos that we've already created and the videos that we'll be creating in the future. We're planning to do this daily, maybe for years. We'll see what the response is from folks like you. And then finally, you can get notified. Every time we do a new video, you could be notified. All you got to do is hit the notify button. So if you do those things for me, that'd be a great help. But in the meantime, we are now going to reintroduce Dan Nera of Burn Media. Hello, Dan. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, good. And Dan is a man of many talents. His primary apparent skill over the last many years has been producing videos and movies and commercials in Hollywood, in West Los Angeles, in the San Fernando Valley. Dan, you about a few years ago, you can tell me how many, a few years ago, you decided you'd had enough of West Side life.
Yeah, well, we actually lived in Studio City, not West Side.
Okay.
But yeah, I felt that it was not the best place for my family. So Riverside was our choice because my wife's family is from Riverside. And I went to school here in this area as well, my college education. So we came back.
Came back to Riverside. It is a little different pace here, and there's a little different. I don't know. Actually, it's culturally shocking to go from Studio City or West Los Angeles to Riverside. It's a cultural shock. It's almost like you moved to Texas or someplace in Georgia. There's such a difference in terms of the attitudes of the people. And I'm a West Sider. I lived in the Culver City area for almost 50 years. So, Dan, what we want to talk about today is, first of all, let's just reintroduce yourself really quickly in terms of what Burn Media does, so that folks who haven't listened, if you haven't listened to the last 2 days, you should definitely go back and listen to the last 2 days. But Dan, briefly, what do you do?
Well, we're a digital marketing agency. We specialize in search engine optimization. We get companies found online. And we are a video marketing specialty company because of the background that I have, which is in the entertainment and the commercial business.
Right. And Dan is an outstanding, as you can imagine, filmographer, our videographer or whatever, and editor and producer and all that. He brings all those talents to the table. And many of my friends in small business have used him to produce videos, and they're just absolutely amazing. Much better. I've shot thousands of videos and edited, well, not as many because I hate editing, so I pass that off to others. But let's say produced thousands of videos. If I want a great video done, I go to Dan. And an example of that, which I mentioned yesterday, is on our brand new website, free business help now.com. You want to go there, not during the show, after the show. You want to go to freebusinesshelpnow.com, and you're going to find resources the resources available on that website are just amazing. Everything from how to start a business to how to find a bookkeeper to how to sell your business to how to buy another business. It's unlimited. And one of the things that's on there is that Dan has produced, at the time that we're recording this, 6 videos on how to rank highly on Google My Business. He mentioned the other day there's eventually going to be 10, but there are 6 of those, and they are all on the new website. So check it out on the website. Those are going to help you do it yourself. It's a do-it-yourself method for going through and getting yourself set up on Google My Business and then highly ranked on Google My Business. Why Google My Business? Because it's the #1 most important real estate on the internet if you are a local business. So Dan, now to you. I know you're my guest and I've been doing all the talking. Anyway, so Dan, we ended yesterday. We talked about the setup at business.google.com, where you can find Google My Business, is where you can set your company up, the name, the address, the phone number, the website, all the rest of the stuff. You lay out all this information. We talked about the importance of the NAP. So folks, if you don't know what a NAP is, other than, what we do in the afternoon on a nice sunny day, if you don't know what a NAP is, go back and look at yesterday's show and find out what a NAP is. It's critical if you want to be highly ranked on Google My Business. And we talked about the description. We talked a little bit about citations and about reviews. Today, what we want to talk about is the other signals, Dan, and I know you have a favorite other signal. So Google has, I'm going to preempt you again, they have over 100 signals, over 100 things that Google My Business looks at to determine how highly they're going to rank you. But one of those big signals, that's what we call off page or off of the actual setup page for Google My Business. One of the most important signals is, Dan?
Backlinks.
Backlinks.
We want to get into that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, maybe let's start with website and flow into backlinks. How's that?
You got it. Okay. So we mentioned yesterday that it's not enough to develop a good Google My Business presence. It's also very important because Google looks at it for your website to be well developed and to have good content that's relevant and that is consistent with what's on Google My Business. So if we look at our website, there are two main factors, looking at it from a bird's eye point of view, that one has to take into account. One is what we call the on-page optimization, and then the other is what is called the off-page optimization. And it's very simple to explain. The on-page optimization is anything that is on your website, and that includes content itself, and also technically, is the website fast? Is it optimized for mobile phones, etc.? The off-page is what we refer to as things like backlinks. Backlinks are signals or links that are coming back to your website from other websites. And a lot of people think, well, I'm just going to develop a lot of backlinks to my website and that's going to take care of it. Unfortunately, Google considers the authority of those websites that are actually linking back to you as being important.
Sometimes, Dan, to interrupt you, sometimes I think of this for those who at least had a term paper in high school or went to college and had to write, massive papers for their professors. They're sort of like the footnotes at the bottom of the page. If you've written good content, then you're footnoting the content to prove that this content is good. In a website, it's kind of the opposite. Somebody else is saying, this is good content, you should pay attention. So I just wanted to give people some context, possibly. Go ahead.
That's a great way to look at it. Yes. And so Google there's a ranking system that is used by websites such as Moz.com, Moz.com. They've developed a ranking system. There's other sites as well, which we won't get into right now, but let's just take Moz, for example. They have a ranking system of the authority of a website from 1 to 100. If you are getting signals from websites that are ranking in the 30 plus, those on Moz, those are really good, strong signals. They're considered authority sites. 40 plus, then they're really high authority sites. 50 plus are extreme authority sites. And even believe it or not, even a site like Google itself does not rank at 100. They're ranking more in the high 90s. So it isn't that, let's say, a website that has a 10 to 25 or 30 is not an authority site. They do consider those authorities. What you want to stay away from is the ones that are under 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you're getting a signal from those types of websites, they're not very strong signals. It doesn't mean they're necessarily bad, although we are going to talk about toxic backlinks. And those are signals that are coming to you, or backlinks that are coming to you from sites that are considered spammy sites. A lot of Russian, and that's not disparaging the nation, but a lot of Russian backlinks are the considered to be spammy sites. There are a lot of Indian sites that are coming back, although there are authority sites in those two countries. But you have to be careful, and you have to keep an eye on it. What we do as part of our service is we'll go in and we'll study the backlinks that a website has, and we'll determine which ones are bad or toxic. And then we'll do what is called a disavow. We tell Google, we want to disavow these backlinks that are coming. And believe it or not, just doing that alone is going to help your rankings. It's going to elevate you.
Yeah, so there are folks like you, there are websites out there that do some automated backlink chasing, but I found that the automated systems usually are going to get lower ranking or spammy kinds of backlinks. Typically, most folks that are in the business legitimately are doing the hard work of getting backlinks. Let me say, first of all, that backlinks can happen organically. If you're writing amazingly good original content that is easy to read, well written, and useful, then there are other people in your industry or other people that might be related to that content that are going to give you a mention in their blog, or a mention on their video, or a mention on their website. And those backlinks are going to help you, and they are organic. You don't have to do anything to get those. But for most of us, unfortunately, either the information is too narrow, or it's just not enough people are finding you to even mention you. That's where Dan and folks like Dan come along to help you get some backlinks, but it takes some hard work, Dan, right?
Yes, and that highlights the importance of actually creating content on your site that is backlinkable, that people are willing to say, hey, I'm giving that website a mention here. Here's the link, because they have content that is important to you. So absolutely.
Yeah, so the backlinks help the website to become more highly ranked. The fact that the website is becoming more highly ranked means that more people are going to visit. Then the more people that visit, the more Google likes it. They like that you're getting lots of visits, so they're going to rank you higher, and then you're going to get more visitors, and that's going to rank you high. Anyway, it's a not a vicious circle, it's a good circle. I forget what they call that, but anyway, it's a positive circle. What?
Well, I'm just making it up.
Okay. So Dan, there's some other things too, though, that I'm commonly shocked when I have a client that doesn't realize the importance of these things. And I think you called it the big five, and that it's so important that you have a poster on your wall to remind yourself of these big five. These are ranking signals that Google uses to determine what keywords you're found under, and also how high you rank. Can you run us through that top five?
Yeah, I can give you a brief overview. These are the five, in the order of importance, the five most important signals for a website. We're talking now specifically about a website.
Right.
The most important signal that Google considers in ranking a website is that the keyword be in the domain name. So you want your domain name to contain the most important keyword that you want to rank for in the name itself. So riversidechiropractic.com is much better than johndoechiropractic.com when it comes to the website itself. The next signal up, and I'm going to reference my friendly chart over here, is the keyword in the page title. When you're setting up your website, you could create titles for each and every one of your pages. You want your home page to have the keyword in that title of your page. The next important
Can I break in and mention each of your inside pages, though, is also a ranking page. It's a rank. It can rank. You can have an inside page that ranks higher in certain keywords than your home page is ranking in any keywords.
Correct.
Inside page. So each of those titles on those inside pages is critical too, that you include the keywords that you care about in that title. Go ahead.
That's right. The third most important one is the H tag. The H tag is that there's several types. There's H1, H2, H3, H4, and those are the hierarchy of your titling within the page itself. So a headline would be an H1. You want the keyword to be in that H tag. And the higher the H tag, like H1 is much more important than H2, et cetera. And you want the keyword to be in that H1, if at all possible. Then you want the keyword to be also in the description of the page itself, where you actually create a description. And you could use tools like Yoast. And you could, we recommend highly that people implement Yoast in their, especially their WordPress websites, YOAST. And Yoast will actually help you walk through these so that you can easily put your keywords in the right places, including the description itself. And then finally, the content of the page itself. If you're writing an article on the page, make sure that your keywords are there. And again, we mentioned earlier, you don't want to keyword stuff. You don't want to repeat over and over and over. You want it to be an organic article within that page. So those are the 5 important signals in the order of importance. The number 1 being keyword in the name, the domain name of your site itself.
Right. And a lot of people get confused between title and headline. Okay. So the title of your website is that second thing that Dan mentioned, which is something that doesn't show up. It's a back of the website tool that you'll have on every website builder. It'll ask you, what is the title of that page? That is not your headline. That is the title. And it's not in the place that it shows up is when you're doing a search, then that title is the very top thing that people see. A lot of times they have vertical lines in the middle of them or horizontal lines in the middle of them. That's a common practice among SEO people for setting up a title so they can divide off the keywords that are being applied. So that is your title. Even though you might think your headline is a title, technically in SEO terms, the title is this item that's used for SEO, as opposed to your headline, which is your headline on the page. And that H1 stands for headline 1 or headline largest or the biggest headline. Doesn't have to be, by the way, just a little insider secret. You can take a phrase out of the middle of your first paragraph or the second paragraph and turn that into an H1. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be bold. It'll still be an H1, and Google will still see that as an H1. Generally speaking, you want your big headline to be your H1. You want your sub headline to be your H2. You want your H3s to be down in paragraphs or in little tiny headlines down below. Generally, that's the system that Google's looking for and everybody else is looking for in identifying these H1s, H2s, and H3s. So, and those should be keyword rich.
They should be relevant to the main, that H1 especially should be relevant to the main keyword that you want to rank for
that page. And you should typically only have 1 or 2 H1s, usually 1 H1 per page. You might be able to get away with 2 H1s, but typically it'll be 1 H1, maybe 2 or 3 H2s, and then maybe 2 or 3 or 4 H3s. To be honest with you, I've never used an H4 and H5, but maybe they're you either.
It's a hierarchy, it's
Yeah.
like, how do you separate your content, right? H1 is, like you said, the headline, and then there's a subheading to that. That would be your H2. Then if you have several subheadings to that H2, then you would consider those the H3. So it's just a way for the Google bots, the robots that go in and check out your website. It's a way for them to interpret that page into the hierarchy of importance and what the content is about. That's why it's important to have them.
Right.
It takes away the guesswork that these bots have to implement when they're checking your.
Exactly. So what we've been talking about today with Dan is that Google My Business is the most critical, absolutely the most critical real estate on the internet if you're a local business. One of the most important signals that Google My Business looks for in order to determine how they're going to rank you in the 3-pack or not even in the 3-pack is looking at your website to make sure that it's relevant, quality, gets a lot of traffic. The more traffic, the more relevant, the better the SEO that's done on it, the more likely you are to rank on Google My Business. And we've been talking about some of those ranking factors on your website. There's a side benefit to all this. Maybe you're not in the 3-pack. Maybe you haven't made it into the 3-pack yet, but maybe because you've done a great job on organizing your website, doing the SEO on your website, giving fantastic content that's well written, relevant, and consistent, and you've done a great job of doing that, then you might be showing up in the organics under that keyword. It's not as important as Google My Business, but right under Google My Business is going to be the organic listings. And if you're showing up on that page in both places, now you're talking about a home run, baby. So if you could be Google My Business and organic, that's really amazing. So Dan, I want to thank you again for being with us for the last 3 days. I know that we've talked about bringing you back sometime in the future to talk about how to get a great YouTube video up that also might end up ranking on that same page.
Right. Yes, it'll be my pleasure. I'd love to talk about that. We covered the SEO part of it, but the video is, I consider to be the king of content for any website and for even your Google My Business. You can't upload, and we didn't get into this too much, but I can mention here that it's important for developing your Google My Business to upload images and to upload video if possible. So we can talk about that in the next one.
Great. Thank you, Dan Nera from Burn Media. Thank you for being with us again.
My pleasure. Thank you, Randy.
So that is all we have from Dan today. But I do want to say to you that we will be switching subjects starting tomorrow. To be honest with you, I haven't figured out what I want to talk about yet tomorrow. So I'm just going to leave that as a blank, but I guarantee you that it's going to be extremely useful for what? Getting you more vacation time, which is the goal of the show. So we'll be talking about more steps and things that you can do to either market or help to be a better salesperson, potentially to increase to work with your employees better, to manage them better, to hire, to fire. So many subject matters that we have yet to cover, and we'll be getting on to some of those tomorrow. Another thing I want to ask you to do today is to go to the new website. It's not as new as it was a month and a half ago, but it's still pretty new. It's freebusinesshelpnow.com. And as I've said before, how much better could it be than that? I mean, it's free information that's going to help you increase your sales or increase your business or increase your profits or take more money home. It's business help. We're all looking for that. And it's immediate. It's now. And so we're trying to jam up as much information as we can on that website. There's already dozens and dozens and dozens of pages on subjects ranging from how to start a business to how to sell a business and everything in between. I'd also like to encourage you, if you're paying any attention to the antics of Elon Musk right now, Elon is going crazy. He's shooting rockets off, 2 or 3 a month. The Model Ys are starting to be produced in Shanghai. The Texas Gigafactory is almost built. The Berlin Gigafactory is almost built. He's going to change the world with batteries and electric vehicles and all the rest. If any of that appeals to you, it sure appeals to me. I am an Elon Musk fanboy, #1 fanboy. And as a result, I wrote a book about him a couple of years ago. The name of the book is The Elon Musk Method. It talks about 16 things that Elon does that make him amazing, that make him the #1 most successful entrepreneur of our time, maybe in history. And we take those 16 things and we show how those 16 things could be applied to your business so that you could actually improve your sales, your marketing, your success generally in business. So until tomorrow, this is Randy Kirk signing off from Small Business Daily.